Good evening, everybody. It's Trey Heath with the Beyond the Curve podcast, MX podcast. I've got Derek Schaefer with me today. We are going to talk about Dade City. We're going to touch on Hangtown National, another brutal track. We're going to talk about how this sport, it spits you out and builds you up all in one weekend, and that's what happened this weekend. It doesn't matter how old you are, you get to a certain point, the sport says goodbye to you, and the sport says welcome to others. And I think on the amateur side, it's the same way. So, Derek, before we get too far into it, welcome. We're back at the poolside studio today. It's an absolutely beautiful Florida evening for early June. It's nice out here tonight. So it's Monday evening, June 5th, and we're sitting poolside. We're going to talk about the latest round of the Dade City Motocross Series. We're going to talk about the latest round of the I-4 MX Series, and we're going to touch briefly on what happened at Hangtown. But there's really only probably like 3 stories from Hangtown that are occurred. And
a little bit of the Gatorback qualifier.
Yep. So there was a busy weekend of amateur motocross and pro motocross. I'm going to be quite honest. I was away visiting my daughter in Tallahassee, so my motocross was followed on Twitter, fantasy, and watching motos late last night when we got home. So I was watching a different kind of horsepower Saturday and on the road Sunday. So, Derek, what's going on?
It was a busy weekend for us. I mean, I didn't even get to watch much of the race. I watched it all, but I couldn't focus on it. We watched some of the races, and I come back home and rewatched it. We're so beat and tired, and after a 2-day straight race event, it gets exhausting. But we had a pretty okay weekend, I guess you could say. It wasn't good, wasn't bad.
Yeah.
So, but what do you want to tear into?
I don't know. You want to just kind of fill in the pros, and then we'll jump into the amateur side, since that was it was a Florida festive weekend this weekend.
Yeah, it was
with regionals, with I-4, with Dade City.
It was busy.
Yeah, so we can talk about the pro motocross stuff for Hangtown Round 2. Traditionally, this track it's an interesting track over the years. They've tried to create a little more disc up feel this year, and it was hard packed and hot, and it was the same old. Well, it's only 2 rounds in, but to me it was same old. It was, but we did have a couple big storylines. Chase Sexton fell at practice, so he was out. So who's gonna compete with Jet? And then on the 250 side, as I stated last week, other people are gonna win, but Hunter's just gonna be Mr. Consistent. And guess what Hunter was this weekend? Just Mr. Consistent.
Deegan put on a good show.
Yeah.
Out there throwing some gnarly whip right off the bat, showing his style. There was nothing crazy to me at the beginning. Like I said, I didn't pay attention to it terribly, but Hunter did Hunter things. He rode great. Deegan rode great. The HBI team, we're going to talk about them a little bit in depth with their guys. Scott Meshy and Artie Munoz they're steadily increasing. I know, like you said, it's only round 2, but they're showing progress as we go, and it was a pretty good weekend for everybody there.
There was one. I feel like for the most part, everybody kind of got through California unscathed, minus one of the legends of the sport, Jeremy Martin. And I'm kind of curious now, like, have we seen the last of Jeremy Martin?
I don't know what all happened in that last 450 hole shot either, where they just, I don't know if you watched that.
I saw the debacle. I saw
there was probably 15 bikes in that pile up, and it got nasty quick.
Yeah.
That's like literally the only highlights I have are the crashes and or broken bones.
The Jeremy Martin video, it's not good. I mean, it's amazing that someone got it that good.
Yeah.
Video. The 450 crash. The only thing I'll say is I saw a meme that said, "Hey, 250 guys, watch us start," and then 450 says, "Hold our beer," and they just go out and absolutely have a debacle. Some are saying, and I don't know because I've never started on a grate, saying these starts are so fast because they all have traction coming out of the grate and they're all so close. I just think sometimes, for lack of a better term, stuff happens, and once one guy goes, they all go.
I mean, they're carrying serious speed regardless. Those grates might help it a little bit, but I don't think that the grates are what's causing the speed. I mean, these bikes are ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm going to ask this question because we watched it when Deegan got the whole shot on the first moto, and Jet as well. If you watched it, it was a left and then kind of a floating right. Like we'll say it was a right. They trust the edge of their tires so much. If you really slow it down, and for those that enjoy racing, I'm sure sometimes you watch things and you're like, okay, I'm going to go back and watch that again. We went back and we watched both starts.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're standing up and they're on the edge of the tire.
Yeah.
And if you even look, Jet gets a little bit buck wild at the start because when they're standing up, the bike's floating out and it kind of kicks back. But it must be a great feeling as an amateur guy, truly amateur guy. It must be an amazing feeling to trust the edge like that and be like, oh, this is going to hold. Or think in your mind, oh, this is going to hold. Because that's what they're doing at that start. And then they kind of get in their flow and they do stuff throughout the moto that you're like, I mean, I don't know if anybody paid attention. Jet was on the outside tripling into the inside of the split lane. Mm-hmm. And I was like, he's tripling. No one else was doing it. He was tripling across the lanes. And I was like, these guys, they just think so differently. But the start was what got me is they're all barreling into the start. And there is so much trust on that rear tire to just, I'm going to keep it wide open, and those little knobs on the edge are going to grab a hold.
Yeah.
So
that's how like all the Supercross is. They're relying on the sidewalls. And, and like pretty much the whole race, all those turns, they got them things laid completely over.
I always said I would love to go to a truck after a main or a moto and see what the tire looks like after, because like I get a half season out of a tire.
Yeah.
I know they're also running spec tires. They're not running tires you and I, the high end guys. They're not running tires you and I can get. Mm-hmm. But I would love to see what those tires look like at the end of a moto.
Most of them, an MX moto, they're probably rounded, but most of them, they probably still look brand new to you.
You think so?
Yeah. For the most part, they're probably not an MX moto. I mean, they're definitely rounded at that. But like Supercross, you might see some cupping in them, but they're probably pretty new.
So the only thing I took from the motos from the motocross this weekend was I was impressed. I saw it from Hunter, and I also saw it from there was others, but I saw it from AP as well. They were not afraid to speak out about track prep.
No,
they did not like the track prep this weekend. And they spoke about it, which I thought, cool, like, fantastic. I'm glad they're speaking up.
Yeah.
And I also heard that the track crew wanted to not have the slot car rutted stuff, so they tried to prep it differently.
Yeah.
And I guess there's a very fine line as to what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. For the riders, they didn't really like it. But there's really not much takeaway. Congratulations, like you said, Deegan. That was awesome. He held on, kept his gap. Hunter pushed through, ended up in third. 450s. Jet, I know he is. And James Stewart even talked about, like, I think he's giving everything he has. He just looks so smooth.
See,
God, he looks smooth as can be.
I heard Bubba say that. I kind of disagree. Like, you can tell that he's riding, but I don't think he's riding hard. Like, look at the speed that he had, it just looked slow. Like, that's how he looks anyway because he's so fluent. But I think he was much slower than everybody else just because there was no pressure. There was nothing to worry about. I don't think he was pushing it by any means. There were a few spots where he'd get huckabucking in a turn, or he'd be bouncing around a little bit. You could tell he might have been pushing it a little bit there. But I don't think we've seen Jet ride hard when he gets angry. And he's coming from the back of the pack and like Supercross.
Well, he skirted the issue when Jason asked him if he had. Could you have picked it up? And he really 80%.
But yeah, I don't think he's riding hard at all.
He looks too smooth.
We've seen him how many times in Supercross fall, and that's when you see Jet ride hard.
Yeah.
And look what he does. He comes back and he's still in first after being last. You're not gonna hear me disagree with James Stewart very often, but I'm gonna have to disagree with him on that one.
But I will say I think 2 rounds into the Nationals, forget what's going on with points and that kind of stuff. I just so much appreciate when these guys go out and grind these motos out. It is just watching them, because you're watching as a fan. You see the countdown clock, and you kind of paying attention. You maybe looking at your phone, doing something. You look up, and there's 14 minutes left, and you're like, oh my goodness. Then you look up, and there's 4 minutes left.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, you're counting like, hey, we got 2 more laps. So maybe like 5 more laps left. And then they get to 2 laps, and you're like, they've already done 30 minutes, and now they're gonna do 2 more laps. And it's like, whew. I just appreciate these guys, all of them, the guys that get lapped versus the guys that are finishing first. They're grinding it out. I think motocross, there can never be not motocross.
And it separates men from the boys.
Yeah.
By all means. But yeah, and AP was looking good this weekend. He always does in the outdoors. I was impressed that he blew his clutch lever off and got that thing running again. You might have missed that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched it or not, but he went down on one big turn and blew his clutch lever off, and then got the bike restarted and rode without the clutch the rest of the time.
And if you don't,
which is typical anyway.
Yeah.
But the clutch is pretty helpful in the turns.
Yeah.
So he slacked off a little bit. He lost when he went down. He lost positions, but he lost one more position without the clutch. But I think that was an awesome ride for not using it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it was gone.
But it was another good weekend. Now we start the transition more towards the east. We go to Colorado next weekend, an absolutely awesome track. I think that Colorado track, they say, is one of the best viewing tracks. It's aesthetically, watching the camera shots, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So we start that, and then we get a week off. I think Father's Day they have off, and then we get over to start the East Coast push. So we're in it now, and that being said, we're in it for the pros. We're in the midst of it for the amateurs too, because a lot of the amateurs are prepping for Loretta's in August, and getting some good hot motos in. Tomorrow is the largest day in professional golf because it's the final qualifying session for the U.S. Open. And I think about Loretta Lynn's as kind of all these areas and regionals. It's kind of like they have these, but I've heard stories of guys like, okay, I didn't qualify in this region, so we're loading up the camper and we're heading to the next region because they don't run them all at the same time.
Yeah.
And you can go all over the damn country try to qualify for Loretta's. So this weekend was Gatorback, historic track in itself. So fill us in on some of that.
It's the closest. That's the closest qualifier we have to us. It looked like it was good racing up there. I mean, my big thing was I follow the HBI team real well, and they put two riders through. Ben Riddle and Caitlin Lane both qualified this weekend. It looked. I see just bits and pieces of it because we raced all weekend, but I got to talk to Matt Bell, the owner of HBI Racing, on Sunday. He did a church service at Dade City, and we got to catch up a little bit. He wasn't at Hangtown. He got to race this weekend, and it was nice to catch up with him. But they had a really good weekend overall. Period. They got two of their guys got points in the pros. They got 2 riders in Loretta's. All their guys at Dade City, I think, did pretty well. So hats off to them. That was a pretty good weekend for them. I'm anxious to see how Ben Riddle's going to do.
What class is he running?
I think he's 40 plus.
Okay.
That boy can ride. I got to talk to him a couple weeks ago at the Spider. He had a day off. He was working on his bikes and stuff underneath the indoor track while the kids were riding. We were talking for a little bit, and talked to him about maybe doing some lessons with Bowen. But yeah, it's great to see these local guys that we're talking to all the time out there making it, and I can't wait to see what that whole team stems off from here, because it's going really well for them.
Did Matt say what they were going to do with the rig? So they got Colorado. Is the rig going to come home? What are you gonna do with the rig?
I didn't get to talk to him too much. We only had a few minutes, so he did the church service, and then quickly went up with me, and he got his donut with them. And Matt's a busy guy,
Yeah.
and I think we probably had like 2 minutes to talk real quick, and we pretty much got to talk about Hardy and them, how he did, and Scott Meshy the day before, and just a little bit of catch up. How you doing? How's she doing? The deal.
I'm very curious on the business side of that. What does a team do? Because especially if you're not a factory guy, like some of the factory guys, they may send their stuff back to California or in Yamaha. They'll come back to Tallahassee. But for some of these small teams, what do they do for that week off?
If I had to guess, based on what they're doing already, Matt, you can easily correct me on this. I'll tag him in everything this week. We're happy to promote them too. But they have a driver, and the team follows with them. I believe they will just go over there and hang out, and they got their meals now and stuff. Matt was telling me that at his church service, they got the donations for the meals and stuff, and they've been trying to help out. Like a lot of these privateers, they're eating noodles. They're eating SpaghettiOs out of a can, whatever they can do, sleeping in tents. And Matt and them are actually helping these guys. They went and I think last week Matt said they went and found all the A-Star truck drivers. He come up and had tacos, and it was really cool. He had a really cool story on that because the guy was literally looking for a taco place, and they ordered a whole bunch of tacos for, I think it was Friday night, might have been Thursday night, doesn't matter. And the guy, all the places were closed, and literally their guy walked up and was like, "Hey man," it might have been Matt that said, "You want some tacos?" And he's like, "Are you like the taco god or what?" Because I was literally just looking for tacos, and he was mentioning that in his church service. I thought that was just awesome. But they're doing more. I love seeing teams like that because a lot of these factory teams, it's a private deal where you got like Matt and them who just give, and he knows that's why he's there. He was put there, and it's just cool to see that he's helping all these guys out. They had Olive Garden that one night, and like I said, the truck drivers got to come. He's helping some of these privateers out who don't have a lot to work with to begin with.
Yeah.
It's awesome to see, but yeah.
I tell you what we need to do is find one of these circus guys that has the large traveling sleeping rooms with air conditioning, and like get one of those guys to go on the road and like offer these guys like, hey man, you can have an air conditioned place to sleep, because there's some of these guys that are sleeping in their vans with no AC, and
they're 80 degrees at night, 90 degrees,
truly roughing it. And like that's the next step, because now you got meals, and you really do have what we all call the traveling circus in the racing world. They would actually have it, and then these guys could like have a place to like cool off and sleep, and it's just a great thing. But no, I am excited to see the next round, and I'm excited that HBI had it, and I'm excited to see that Gatorback got to be a regional, regional tickets punched to Loretta's, and but then more importantly, we had the next round of the I-4 MX Series, and we had the next round of the Dade City Motocross Series, which one ran on Saturday night, and then the next one ran on the big track on Sunday. So, however you want to take it, I was watching horses jumps and go around in circles. So, talk to us.
Dade City was a crazy weekend this weekend for everybody, not just us. We had a bad weekend. We did come home with a fourth, which isn't bad. I can't complain about it. I feel like we're going backwards right now. So I have been talking to a few guys about some training. I mean, I am dealing with a 5-year-old, so it's a whole different ball game. We can't. We've talked about this 100 times. We don't know what's in their heads. They're kids. They're not built for this, but they're out there doing it. He just rode off this weekend pretty hard. He did have a nasty fall. He got drilled on the whole shot in one of his motos. I can't remember. I think that was Sunday morning. He got taken out hard in the whole shot, and I think that threw him off all Sunday. But we'll get into Sunday. Saturday night we had another mutter. Our race was good, and then I think we made it like into Moto 7 or 8, and then the rain came down and flooded that track again. They 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 scraped the whole track off with the dozer, and you could just watch the ponds fill up. I mean, it was just like the last race. It was a mess. We only ran one moto, and then they called it after one moto. So Moto 1 was how you placed. So I think we would have done way better because he did take that nasty fall. We were like 3 turns down from the finish, and he went end over end. I just seen the mud flying. So it kind of sucked because I think we could have come out. I think we could have come out with the number 2. We rode second place the entire night, or the entire first moto until we went down, and he still ended up 4th. I think there was like 12 bikes or so. So he did good. I can't complain about it. A lot of our friends, Declan Mead, Kevin, who was on our show before, he came out with a win. They were on the 50s were the first bikes out in that mud after they resumed, because we took a big break. The lightning was nasty. We took a big break, and then they went out. Declan went out and won. He took some nasty hits this weekend too. He took like a Cooper Webb to the back of the neck, got hit pretty hard. Jagger Craig was there. He put in some pretty good laps. One thing cool about the I-4 series, I don't want to jump to Sunday yet, they do these dune buggy races. Yeah, so they have a dune buggy class, and they're pretty slow paced. Like, I'd love to get a Honda Odyssey or an old Honda Pilot and run that class. Well, it'd be awesome. But back to Saturday night, it was. I think I did more coaching that night. There's a couple guys that we rode with at Spider. We've seen them around, and we had one guy. I honestly can't even remember his name, and I feel terrible about it. I'm just so sleep deprived at this point that I'm not going to remember anything. But he was a nervous wreck. Never rode in the mud. He's never really experienced that, and he was a nervous wreck. So I stayed up real late. I was soaked head to toe, and I stayed up with him and got him ready, mentally prepared for what he was in for, because he's in the points hunt there, and in like the plus 40 no jump class or something like that. I don't know what class he runs, but it's something along those lines. And he was like, this guy was literally shaking. He's like, I'm gonna throw up. I'm like, you need to calm down, because you're so in your head right now that you just need to calm down. And that's what's crazy about it's not crazy, but it's a whole different world with this amateur racing, that it takes a wide variety of guys, and a lot of these guys are there on their own. So, no guidance, no nothing. So I took the time, I sat down with him, and I picked his gate, packed his gate for him, got him all ready. Once he was on the gate, I think he got a little bit better. I told him, ride the middle of the track. I could point out a few turns where you need to hit this one here, there, and he went down hard a few times. Got back up. I was proud that we finished it off. But yeah, it was an exciting night there Saturday, just because of the straight mud fest. Sunday morning, we weren't sure how it was going to be. I woke up first thing Sunday morning. Said I went to church with Matt, and we enjoyed that. And I decided to sign back up. I asked him, like, "Do you want to race?" Well, the track turned out perfect. It was. I would have rode it. God knows I'm not allowed, but I wish I could have rode it. The track turned out beautiful. Now, these 50s were having a rough time.
Did the little ones run the full track?
So, our Pee-wees did not.
Oh, okay.
So, the PW 50s and the 50 minis did not run the full track. They ran the regular half track, the top track. But then the 50 seniors ran the whole thing. And just a few classes of them, they had to kind of talk them into it. And it was... I don't want to say it was a good thing. The kids got to experience the full track doing, 3 full laps, but the back track was nasty for them. It was a rough time. A lot of kids went down, but all in all, it turned out to be a really good day. We didn't stay the whole time, but we had a lot of issues on Sunday. We had throttle sticking again. Kevin and Declan and them, their e-bike kept throwing like a battery code. The electronics were wet. And then another friend of ours, Ashley, her son Eli Stalker, he come out with a win, but he blew a chain apart. It's just it's the inevitable of what happens in the mud. And the people that love to ride the mud are the people that don't work on their bikes. You know, we all say that, but that's what's hard about this amateur stuff is when Declan and when his e-bike shut down as they were lining up. So we yanked that thing back as a team effort, and I'm glad we got it running. But we took it all apart, got the electronics blown out, cleaned up, and got him back to the line. With Ashley, Eli's bike, his whole shot is when the chain broke and it got stuck up in the up in the chain guard, and we rushed that bike off. I yanked the chain out for her, got it pushed up there, and we went and took care of our issues. And then we rushed up there and helped them get a chain on, and with like 2 motos before they had to line up. So it was a very tiring weekend, but that's what this sport's all about. We try to help everybody, and I just like to see these kids racing. So I was very busy this weekend. Kevin and I both. Kevin was. I thank him all the time because he's always there to help us. But we're always there to help him. It's just it's a family.
How was the crowd with the fact that less than an hour and a half away there is a regional going on? How was the crowd for the I-4 series?
It was pretty busy. I expected it to be a lot busier. Now, Friday night, we were backed up out into the streets of Dade City because they didn't open the gates up. They should have opened them up earlier because it did turn into a mess Friday night trying to get in because we camped all weekend. And the cops showed up, like, moving, trying to get RVs off the main roads and all that. But it was a pretty good turnout for having a regional, close by. So I think it went well. With the rain, a lot of people left. A lot of people weren't sending their kids out on that, which, like I said, the track ended up perfect. So the only complaint that I would have with it was for the PWs, they don't clean so the Dade City Series they'll groom the track at intermission. Well, the I-4 MX Series, they don't do that. I mean, they might do it at some of the other races. That's the first one we've ever run. But it's hard for the PWs to ride in the bigger ruts like that. And I actually got buried. I lost my shoes in the mud. I got buried up to my knees. I had to have a couple guys pull me out. It was like I was reaching in, digging my shoes out. So that tells you how much mud is on that track. Like, I was up to my knees. And that's how much they pushed off. It just sucked you in. But it was a pretty good turnout. We had a really good weekend, minus the issues that we did have. But yeah, I can't wait for the next one. I'm really excited now for the Florida Series when we go to Dade. We actually sponsored the Florida Series, the FCA MX, August 13th, I believe. But it'll be another full weekend there, and hopefully the rain holds off this time. We can have a full race weekend. I think it'll be fun.
So the next round for Dade City will be 2 weeks from now? Or not this weekend? Father's Day week?
Before Father's Day.
Okay, and then I-4 is when?
I don't know. I'll have to look. I think it's in a couple weeks.
Okay.
2, maybe 3 weeks.
Okay.
I'll have to look. I don't know. But they got a pretty good program going.
Yeah.
It's like it's a family-oriented race series. It's not really I think when people think of that series, if you've never been there, it's probably like you think it's like a massive motocross series. It's a big series, but it's very safe, family oriented. It's just a good time. They're out there to have a good time. Kenny Yo, who runs it, is he's a pro at one point in life, and he's doing a good job with it. I like what's become of it, and I hope we can run it some more. But we're all over the place at this point. So
I got I think it's one of those things. Not that we do prep. We don't do any prep for this. So we're going to prep right now. I think it would be cool to kind of at some point break down the different series that Florida has between the World Cup, the I4MX, the Boss Series, and talk about Loretta Lynn's qualifiers, so on and so forth, where they are. I think it'd be kind of neat to discuss that, do that breakdown, and talk about those different series and when they run. On top of that, there was some catastrophic news this weekend that another motocross track in Florida has been shut down because the owners of the land, which made my wife and I say, hey, these guys need to get their own land, because the past 2 tracks that have shut down have not been because the track's failing, but because the landowner wants to sell the land, and so
it'll probably be developed. I mean, and it sucks. And that's what I keep saying about the old landfill down here in Babson Park. Like, I would love to have that, because I don't think they can ever build on it, right?
I don't know that.
I don't know, but that would be perfect. It's already got the hills. Yeah, the underneath's probably not the best, but you can make a motocross track out of it, and I think that would just be prime. It sits up there on that hill, so it drain off nice. Hopefully someday maybe we can make that happen. I doubt it, but these tracks, like the leasing the land, is just, it's inevitable to happen, especially with the real estate market right now. I mean, you guys know it better than anybody. It's when there's an opportunity to make that much money, they're going to do it. These owners are going to sell, they're going to develop it, and it sucks for the sport because we're losing them left and right. I'd say 5-10 years from now we're going to probably only have a handful left, but it is what it is, and hopefully we can keep gaining some more tracks along the way. But as far as the series goes, I'd love to have all the guys that run the series on here and to actually talk about their series and what started it, and because there's a lot of series that run here in Florida, and they're all really good series. We've talked to some guys that are parts of them, and I'd love to have all those guys on here.
Well, that's a task you and I can tackle over the next few months. Not that it matters, but my old body, I received news this week that I'm done effectively for my season, so I'm not allowed to get back on the bike for another 2 weeks, which I'm supposed to go race the National this weekend in Georgia, and it's not going to happen, so I'm effectively done, and I probably won't race now. I was going to take the whole month of July off anyway, just to do bike work and different things, and I'm thinking I might take August off too, as far as racing, and start back in September, and get ready for the National Enduro Series next year, which I'm excited to bring that to the podcast when we travel to where the hell we're going.
It's going to be interesting, for sure.
I mean, some of the places, like, I've seen videos of where they've raced this year. Like, they raced through a canyon in Arkansas, and I'm like, I didn't know they have canyons in Arkansas. So that's going to be fun to do, but I got to get myself, and it goes to the kids and the amateurs that race motocross. We got to take care of ourselves, and that's going to be a journey I'm going to be going through now of rehab, prehab. I've got to go see a specialist to get my.
I know it all too well.
Yeah, so it's kind of one of those things. Like, it's going to be a fun little journey. So Michelle and I are actually. Michelle was pumped up. She's like, hey, the money we're not going to spend on going to races, we can start going to some of the amateur stuff. We were going to donate to the HBI thing because we thought that'd be fun to go to Budds Creek and just go watch a national. But I guess those were full. You said those were full, which is awesome. You can hit on that in a little bit. So I'm going to get to go watch some of these kids do their thing over the next few months, and that's going to be. It's going to be fun to not focus on me, but focus on these kids, and that's going to be neat to see. And we're going to get out to a Dade City Saturday night, and, but the doors kind of closed up this week while we were out of town, and it was like, all right, cool, let's reevaluate the summer. So I haven't had a summer break in a while, so it's kind of interesting to have that and start that process. So I will start bike teardown, I guess, this week. So that way I can get back on the bike when I can.
Heck yeah. Yeah, we're in the thick of it at this point with the amateur racing. We are now full blown. I mean, it's for us, our schedule's just slammed, and it'll be exhausting, but to get you guys out there will be fun. A couple weekends, and I think Michelle put on your calendar you guys are going to come to that race that we sponsored.
Since I can't race, instead of being in Alabama that weekend, we'll be in Dade City here. Wherever that was. That in Dade City?
That one's going to be at Dade City, just because we have a points race the night before. Yeah. So I figured it would match perfectly.
So are you guys now focused for the next few months on just Dade City?
Yeah, so being in the points hunt, we want to. This is his first full season, so I want to kind of do that discipline of the points race, and we're still hitting a couple other ones here and there, and but I want to give him that discipline, get some training in. I've talked to a couple guys about some private training, and like I said, we're kind of going backwards right now, and so he's a kid. He doesn't listen to me. It doesn't matter what Dad says. We actually have we're going to Pax Tracks Motocross Camp. He signed up for that June 27th, 28th, 29th. We'll be up there for 3 days straight. Justin Starling's going to be the coach.
Oh, cool.
Got a few other coaches up there, so he's going to get some good training up there. We're going to start working towards the next step, but the next step right now is that, like I said, that discipline of the point series, so he knows how it works, and then just slowly bettering him. Like I said, he's 5 years old, so we can only do so much. I think he's got a bright future, but we're really struggling on the KTM Mini right now. I don't know if it's just the power or what it is, but I think we're going to pull him off of that for just a little while and see if the being off of it makes him want it more. Kevin actually gave me that idea, and I've contemplated it in my head. Should I just pull him off of it, or should I just push him on that one, and maybe we'll just do the training on the Mini? I don't know yet. We'll see how it goes, but yeah, I want to get the discipline in, get some training in, and then we'll see where it goes from here, and then we're going to hit a few of these other series. Once that EJM series starts back up, I think we're going to run it too. Then he can race the Stasic, because I know he has so much fun on that Stasic. So I want to get out to a series like that where it's literally just fun.
Yeah.
And he can go out, and it's all it is small bikes, and it's just a good time. We really enjoyed that series. You guys came up to that one race, and I'm actually looking forward to that one. But I think they're going to do like a fall-winter series this year. So we do want to hit the Florida series, a few more. They have a really good beginner program. With some of these other tracks, it's hard because I don't want to call kids sandbaggers, but a lot of these parents put their kids in classes that they know they're going to win for the trophies, and it makes it hard on us where we have a kid that's trying to learn, and he really, really wants to race, but he gets discouraged when, if he comes in last, or it's not often that he does. On his Mini he does, because that's just not a bike that he's comfortable with yet, and I knew that. It's a big bike for him. He's a small kid, but I want to get him into an actual beginner class where I know it's beginner kids like he is, and he can actually battle with kids for the lead and for the win, and I want him to feel that first win, and then I think a lot will change then. We're putting in the work as much as we can. It's hard for us because a lot of these fast kids they have a track within half an hour of them. I built this track out here in the yard, which it's good for training, but I think we're slacking on the training part just because it's so hard for us. We're still 3 days a week driving 2 hours one way to go practice, which is hard. But if I can bring somebody else in to try to teach him something that I can't because they just won't listen. But like I said, we'll see where it goes from here. I think we're going to have a brighter future coming up soon. But yeah, we're going to hit a few more series and keep excelling his knowledge and go from there.
Who were because we kind of keep our eye out on who's kind of doing what. Who were the hot shoes this weekend in some of the upper classes in either Dade City Saturday night or...
Here's the issue with me and all the issues that we had over the weekend. I got to watch some of them ride, but getting some of the names was hard because we just were so busy.
Because I figured this would have been the weekend for someone to shine since the guys that tried to go to Loretta's weren't there.
Yeah, and the biggest issues this weekend was the mud, because a lot of the fast riders it's like they just weren't there. I mean, they were, but it was a gnarly track Saturday night. And Sunday morning there was quite a few fast guys, but name-wise, I wish I couldn't even get any pictures because we were just so busy, like of the results. But my focus on this next race is to get a few of these guys, start highlighting them, and hopefully things calm down a little bit so I can do that. And maybe if you can get out there, that's going to help a little bit. But there's, like I said, there's some fast guys that are out there, so I'm hoping to talk to them soon.
Because this weekend was one of those odd weekends where there's kind of this state series, and I don't know how the Hangtown MX Series works. I don't know if there's drops or anything like that, but like I'm guessing there were a couple guys that run the series that were trying to qualify for Loretta's this weekend.
Yeah.
So there's a chance for somebody to kind of shine that normally wouldn't get shine. Like you said, you said it perfectly. If someone gets a win, even on a weekend where maybe the guy that usually wins isn't there, winning is an amazing drug.
Yeah,
it's
especially for a kid.
Yeah,
a kid comes home with the first place, and it's a game changer, really.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of what we were looking for this weekend. Was hoping, that we knew a lot of these fast kids were going to Loretta, and we can't keep up with some of those kids because they eat, breathe, and sleep it. I mean, we do too. Don't get me wrong by any means, but this is his first year. Like, we're only 9 races. He's 9 races in.
Yeah.
And he's doing really well for 9 races in at 5 years old. But that's what I thought this weekend. Maybe, just maybe, there'd be a hope that even if we couldn't get a win, a second, a third, he's going to be ecstatic about it. But we were close. Like I said, he ran second. We still had some fast kids there, though. So, because with the I-4 series running the next day, we had new kids that came in Saturday night just to race, and I was proud of him for how he rode, even with those extra kids there, because there was some new fast faces. But we'll see. Like I said, I think in the next few weeks, if I can get him out of this funk, because he's in a funk right now, if I can get him out of this funk, I think we might be able to take a win in his class, and hopefully that just excels everything from there.
What's it like? You're at the racetrack, and you guys have your camper there, and what's it like? Because like usually you guys go race, and it's kind of that series, the Dade City, but then all of a sudden you have these people coming in. Where does everybody park? How does that look? How's it look?
It's not bad actually, because us normal Dade City people, like, we have our spots, and we have our spots for a reason, because we've created these families, and one camper will park here and the other one will park here, and then we have this whole pit area together, and then the people that don't have the campers that we know, they'll come in and they park behind us, and it's just one big group, and it's fun. But then when you get series like this where they all run together, you got people riding right through your pits, and it does get hectic. And I don't want to discourage anybody or talk down on any of these series, because I'm glad to see it successful. But it gets jammed in there. There was a Friday night we got knocked on our door, and Kevin parked here and we parked here, and they're like, "Well, you need to move your truck so we can get another camper right in between." I'm like, you can't fit another camper right in between here. And I knew we had other people coming, and I didn't want that, but luckily we didn't have that, and but I can see where it would happen. I'm anxious to see how the Florida series goes, because that's a bigger one. So it gets jam-packed, but they were parked out in the field, out by the streets, and it was pretty full. I think the rain helped a lot of the overcrowding problem, but we'll see. On a next weekend, I bet it's going to be.
Yeah, I think for that Florida series, we probably won't have, because I don't remember when Loretta's actually is, but it's getting close to that time. So it'll be another opportunity for guys that aren't going to Loretta's, a chance for them to shine in another state series. Yeah. So it's kind of going to be interesting to see over these next couple months, because as big as the amateur scene has gotten, these kids don't race a lot. So you're going to have a lot of kids once these regionals are over. they're done until Loretta's. So it's going to be a chance for some of these other kids to get some race time without them.
Yeah, and they're back at the local races, getting gate drops. And it's cool for us because our kids get to ride with a lot of these pro kids, and just that experience. Like, our kids love Jagger Craig. We've talked about this before, and I got to sit and talk with Paige Craig a little bit this weekend, and a lot of people don't get to experience that kind of stuff. Like I said, we're not fan crazed or anything. They're people.
Were they videoing you, or did you just actually get to talk?
We got to talk without the video. Now, we were parked right beside Bowen was sitting right beside Paige or Jagger at one point, so we'll be all over the video. But I try to just look the other way. But we actually did talk because Paige actually called us over as we were walking by. Kevin and I, we talked to her for a little bit, and she's just a mom,
Yeah.
and we're just moto dads, and she's playing moto mom because Christian wasn't there, and it's just cool to interact with. To me, I talked with Brian. I'm like, their lifestyle to me would be just hard. Like, I don't know that I could live their lifestyle because it's so. There's just people up your butt all the time. I couldn't deal with it. Like, there's always kids at their van, and it would get exhausting to me. And I do think that I couldn't be wrong. I mean, like I said, I'm not famous by any means, but I think maybe for her it is nice to just talk to normal people that aren't crazy about the caught up in the fan base. And it's like it was cool because she just talked about Jagger racing, and we were talking about the lines on the track, and how the kids were doing and stuff like that. So it's nice to just interact with them as a person and not a rich.
Well, because they actually are normal people. They just happen to be on TV or YouTube, and the dad happens to be one of the best whoop riders in the world.
Yeah.
So.
And I love the way Christian rides, and I've talked to Christian at Dade City before. It's just you just talk to them as humans. They're nothing else. I mean, they're humans just like the rest of us, and we have kids out there riding, and it's a whole different perspective then. So it's nice to, like I said, it's nice to sit down and talk to these people as a human and as a parent, and we're all going through the same thing right now, no matter what fan base that they have. So,
well, speaking of famous people, I'm really excited because we talked about it last week a little bit, and Deegan throwing out like the haters. And I am so happy after he won. There was no comment about people didn't think because dude, you're good. I understand. We talked about the money. We talked about there's a skill set that you have to have in order to win a 250 motocross national. You have to be good.
Yeah,
you're good. Like, okay, stop it. Yes, there are people that are going to hate you. It's fine, but it's okay.
They're bringing that on themselves too. But I think it's calming down at this point.
Yeah, it's you're good. You're good. You're good. You have talent.
Let it go with that.
Yeah, it's good. And congratulations, you won. Your conditioning. I mean, I saw Lewis Phillips from Vital MX, and I don't care. I mean, they have their own podcast. I don't care. I will never. We're small. He did a rundown, and his average time was never the fastest of the race.
Yeah.
Hunter actually had the fastest lap. His average, but he ran his fastest lap with 2 laps to go.
Yeah.
So conditioning, and all I took from that was, okay, the kid's got condition. He's good. Okay, cool. That's all needs to be said. I've trained. I'm good. I'm very talented. We're good. If you don't like me, okay. It's okay. But guess what? There's people that don't like Jet. There's people that don't like Hunter. There's people that don't like Eli Tomac.
Yeah.
It's okay. Stop talking about it.
I don't. That's what happens. Like, they get caught up in that, and a lot of these riders don't. They ignore it and let it go.
Fran doesn't think about it because all he talks about is talk. He is the new Marvin Muscan.
Yeah. Don't get me started on it. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not in that position. I would never want to be in that position. Sure, I'd love to be a pro rider, but I don't want to be famous. You know, it's um, obviously we like talking. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this. But I don't want to be like that. I don't know.
I would think I would have my interviews really short. Like, I'd be happy, jovial, and they'd be like, dude, I gotta go cool off. And by the way, these guys are jumping in these ice baths. I know there's conflicting thoughts. Maybe look a little bit into the research of cooling your body artificially that quick. Maybe go sit outside the awning, turn a fan on, let your body cool off. Instead of jumping in these, you're artificially cooling off. I understand you guys have all these people that are helping you, but in all honesty, do a little bit of research and see what the proper way to cool off is versus jumping into an ice bath and then going and sitting in the semi, letting the body cool down slowly.
Yeah.
And now with the extra 30 minutes, because now there's even an extra 30 minutes between the races, so you've got plenty of time. Have your snack, drink some fluids.
While you're cooling.
Yeah, while you're cooling down. But they were showing them hopping in the tubs this weekend, and I'm like, dude, there's a lot of research now, and I don't know if that's the best way. This is coming from someone who I don't have a degree, but I study a lot of it, and I get both sides.
Yeah.
I get both sides, and I don't know. So you see that stuff, mom, dad. If you see them hopping in garbage cans with ice, that may not be the best thing for your kid. Don't let your kid go inside and have a sandwich in the air conditioning either. Maybe get one of those fans, sit them outside under the awning, give them some water, turn the fan on, let them cool down, change clothes, and they sit outside because they're going back out in this weather in an hour.
Yeah. Well, even at the amateur stuff, it's when we go from, I'll be chasing bikes around the track, you know, picking kids up, and you're hot, like you're beat, and then you go into the AC and it kills you because it's hot to instant cold, and it's too much for me. You'll never see me in an ice bath.
Well, think about this. Think about this. Just go work on your property. Go mow your yard. Go mow your yard. Leave the chute off. Come inside. Sit down. Have a cold drink. Get in the air conditioning, and then realize you have to go out and rake the yard.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that.
No.
So imagine exerting 3 times that effort racing, and then coming in the cool, and then thinking about what your body is like. Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
Like, so it's just a thought. I'm not the pro. I'm not the professional, but I follow a lot of people. There's pros, cons. Here's what I'll say. Do your research. Don't watch what other people do and think that's the answer.
Yeah. The pros do it, so I should do it.
Do the research. They're being guided by someone else. Not everybody's doing that now. I'll just say this. Not everybody's doing that now.
I wouldn't do it.
So, I'm sure it feels refreshing and you feel good, but it also depends on what they're doing after that. What are they eating? What are they drinking? Where are they sitting? Are they going into the hauler or are they sitting outside? They don't want to sit outside because guess who's outside? Us. And guess what we do? Hey, can I get an autograph? Hey, can I? So they're hiding in these haulers that are air conditioned. Mm-hmm. So there's a catch-22. We can't really. I guess they could go hide out back. That'd be fine. But we need to touch on Jeremy Martin. Devastatingly broken arm.
Yeah, that was nasty.
We talked about it at the beginning, but I think he's got to be 30, 31 now. He's older.
He's 30. I don't know.
And I feel like this might be the end.
That's if you watch the video, that's probably a career-ending break because it was bent totally the opposite way. I didn't do the research on how badly it was broken, but I'm going to guess he broke both bones and totally annihilated it. So he's now going to be in an AP situation where he's going to be pinned in a cast for a long time and a lot of recovery, and it was throttle arm at that. So
and if it is the end, it's sad, but he is a 2-time national champion. He has a family business to take over.
Yeah, he's had a good career.
And we don't know for sure, but man, that was not good. It's kind of like the whole thing, the way I feel with Eli. They're saying Eli could be back for 24, and I'm like,
doesn't have to be.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be. Does he really want to? Do you really want to go fight? Now you have a new addition to the battle. So for Jeremy, his brother left the scene and started this troll training, which seems to be going fabulously.
Yeah.
And maybe it's time for Jeremy to take over the track.
Yeah.
Because they got some great stuff going at that track. I had no idea that they had a snowmobile trail just above the track. Like, there's actually a state snowmobile trail that runs around Spring Creek. So I mean, there's a lot going on. But no, I think it's great, fantastic. Terrible for him, but he's had a great career, and I think he will be remembered highly.
You're not going to see the last of him.
No.
He's always going to be in it.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're a big part of the sport anyway. But
Yeah.
I'd say his riding days are probably over.
Yeah, that was a big crash, and it's a big comeback, and he's already on a B team.
Yeah.
Don't mean Club MX is a B team, but they are a B team, not factory. He's on a B team. He's already 30. He's not going to a 450 because he's 5'3", 5'4". I'm not making fun of him. He's not a big guy. He saw what happened when his brother went to a 450. It didn't go well. Some guys are just 250 guys, and so fantastic. Hopefully he heals up and can enjoy life. But other than that, I don't really have anything. Did listen to a great podcast on Vital. They're doing a series called Moto Moms.
Oh yeah.
And they've done Jeannie Carmichael. They've done James Stewart's mom. Faulkner's mom is next. She's the fourth. I'm missing. Oh, they did Jeremy McGrath's mom. And it's a really cool series that they're doing. And listening to Mrs. Stewart, I will tell you, the interview that we need to get, not us, I mean, that would be awesome, but is we need to get Big James.
That'd be fun.
He doesn't do it. I've never seen him interviewed anywhere.
I'd love to have him on.
Oh my God. She says, like, some of the stories that she was talking about, she's like, you need to ask Big James about this. I'm like, you know what? Someone does need to ask Big James, need to get Big James on his podcast.
Yeah.
And just talk, because they went through the whole racism thing. They went through, I want to know what the bird was when he was flapping his arms like a bird. I want to know all that stuff. And honestly, today I was out doing property review photos, and I had to pass by the compound on the way, and it's like,
sometimes it drives me crazy going by.
I drove by, and you have to understand, we live 15 minutes from one of the most prestigious motocross compounds in the country. And today I was driving down Kokomo Road, and there was some of the big jumps as I'm driving by, and I'm like, man, right there, this is where this magic happened. And
it's still happening there.
yeah, it still happens. And but just saying, that was a great series, and it's cool. We've had the perspective of your wife and my wife on, but listening to these famous moms talk about their kids and the racing world, it's just kind of a cool perspective. I'm really looking forward to diving into the Mrs. Faulkner one, because they're farmers. They're farmers. They're straight up. They're farmers.
Yeah.
And she was a teacher, I think, or something. But they're like straight up on a farm, pig farm, I think, and different things. So it's really cool listening. And this is one of those, like, 15 years from now, Brianna's thought process of what it was like being Bowen's mom through this process, whatever he does, like whether he's just a good amateur or he decides to be an accountant, it doesn't really matter. It's those muddy weekends and, oh my God, wipe your feet off before you come in the camper, please, type event. So
we had a lot of that this weekend. But to touch back on the amateur stuff, just any of the Dade City people that watch or listen, all the above. Shutter and Soul Photography. She captures some pictures at Dade City a lot, and she knows how to capture like those moments.
Can you give her like her at sign or whatever? What's it?
She just find her Shutter and Soul Photography on Facebook. Okay. She's one of those photographers that cares. she'll capture the moments like on the line, you talking to your kid, pointing out this line or that line. And there's not a lot of photographers that'll do that kind of stuff, and it's just raw. Like it's raw pictures. Her pictures are amazing. So anybody who wants to give her, please follow her. Anybody that races there, look at her pictures, because a lot of these photographers just want to catch that one shot where she catches the life. You know what I mean? The life of what we do, and it's hard to get pictures like that and to keep for the rest of your life. So definitely give her a follow. I mean, she's not sponsored or nothing, but I like to give all these people credit that that go into this, and she captures some awesome pictures for us too. So
we got a guy. I'm not going to say anything, but we got a guy that does some of the FTR stuff, and we literally twice a year donate to him.
Yeah.
So if you are one of those that are fortunate to get photos from her or steal the photos from her that she takes, donate to them. It's a simple gesture, and I know we're all slammed. We all have no money to give, but these people come out and they take photos of your kid or the event. Or, I mean, Michelle and I Venmoed to this guy as soon as that picture was posted of her and I together on the line, the last race. It was like, oh, dude.
It's just those moments.
That was because that moment we were actually having a moment of, it was our moment.
Yeah.
And I saw that picture and I was like,
somebody that captures pictures like that, like they care.
Yeah.
And as I said, it's hard to get that. And a lot of people don't understand that these people spend a serious amount of time editing these pictures. Yeah. Whether you buy them or not, you can't really put a dollar per hour sign on how much work that they put in for all the more that they're getting back on these pictures. It's crazy. So
they make great gifts for grandparents and sponsors and just for the kid. So if you get a chance to support, that's a small business, and I know they do it for fun and they're there and they're having a great time but like you said, just the editing portion of it.
Yeah, that's where all the time's at.
Yeah, because they can take 5,000 pictures. It's not hard to take 5,000 pictures on a digital camera anymore. It's not like they have to go into the dark room and do it. The editing, making the picture, making sure the light's right, and making sure it looks good. That's the part now that is difficult.
Yeah, to capture that moment, like at its fullest extent.
So appreciate them and give them a little love. Or if you see him walking around, like the guy that does, he drives around at the races. He's got a half helmet that's bright, like some people call it yellow, some people call it optic green or whatever it is. You see him and you're like, oh yeah. So you just go over and you throw him a couple bucks because you know, like, he's just going to be there every weekend at the races. He doesn't race anymore. He actually so invested, he broke his collarbone riding his pit bike out to go take pictures, broke his collarbone at a race, and was out for a few weeks. And that's all he does. He takes pictures. Yeah. He doesn't race. He just takes pictures. Broke his collarbone trying to take pictures.
Yeah, spending his money to take pictures, then gets hurt.
Yeah. So, I mean, these people, they, and I can tell you this weekend, I'm sure for a photographer, their equipment is so expensive.
Yeah. This
weekend was probably petrifying with the mud and the water, and so just love on them. Just you may not like, I can't believe this is the only picture I got. Dude, chill. Appreciate the fact that they're there.
Maybe try donating to them, reaching out to them, and tell them what pictures you want. Yeah. And I'm sure they'll be happy to gather that picture for you.
I'll tell you, my nephew, great segue. My nephew first race back after his massive crash a couple weeks ago. Finished third this weekend in the 4x4B up in Pennsylvania. High Point. They were actually at High Point. Okay. I think the family stayed in Morgantown, West Virginia. So big weekend. But they actually have GNCC photographers that you can go to, and you can, hey, I want you to photograph me this weekend. You can pay them to, and they are your photographer. So I'm guessing, what's her name again? Brittany from, what's her?
Shutter and Soul Photography.
Shutter and Soul Photography. I bet you if you go to Brittany at Shutter and Soul Photography and say, hey, I would love for little Johnny to have a little cool little photo book. Could you do some photos for him this weekend? And I'm guessing for the right price, you could have those photos. And guess what? She still can take other photos. You're helping her cause, and you're going to get some awesome ass photos of your little kid on a dirt bike.
You guarantee they're going to be perfect because you asked. I mean, it's not that hard to support.
No.
At all. And like we've talked over and over again, there's more than just racing in the racing business. It's a whole bunch of people combined, and they all spend all kinds of money just to help you out. So help them out.
All right, well, I'm laying this challenge out here because I don't know how many people actually watch this. I know Derek loves a good challenge. I'm putting this out there now. I'm putting it out in the ether. We're going to have it. Matt Bell, you are from Lake Wales. Well, I don't know if you're from Lake Wales. You have a business in Lake Wales. Your team is local. We want you at Poolside to tell us what it's like to operate a pro team, an amateur team, run church services, feed the masses, and what this experience is like. And also, and I'm going to say this politely because he's a preacher, why the heck are you doing it? That's what I want to know. What are you getting from this picture?
If you sit down and talk to Matt, he'll tell you exactly why he's doing it. But it's not my story to tell, and I'm not going to. I'd rather have Matt here at some point.
I want him
to
right
tell
here.
Why.
I want him right there.
But he knows why he's doing it, and I know why he's doing it, and it is working out perfectly, and everything has gone his way because of why he's doing it. So I'd
love to hear the story.
Yeah.
I would love to hear the story, and if that means we had to have a Tuesday podcast to make it work, I'd do a Tuesday podcast. I don't care. I think it would be cool. He is a local guy who is supporting professional racers and amateur racers. He is my dream. In the most plutonic and non-relationship wise, that is something my wife and I absolutely love. We love that aspect of sport. So we're rambling. We don't have much to say. We talked about the pros. We talked about the amateurs. We talked about mud. We talked about good, the bad. We're only an hour and 8 minutes in. It's one of our shortest episodes ever. We got one more week of pro, and then we get a week off. We're going to have Father's Day. But guess what? We're going to do an episode until Derek is not here on vacation. We're going to do an episode.
Yeah, because we will be away, June or July.
Yeah, you're going to be gone. But we're going to do an episode every Monday. And guess what's going to happen when Derek's not here? Probably going to do a solo episode sitting in my living room.
I'll chime in. We'll figure out our call in, and I'll call down and at least tell you how it's going up in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. So, but we're going to be on track. Whether we have cool stuff to talk about, we recap the pros on the week off. There'll be another Dade City thing. Maybe we can have a cool story to talk about that weekend. Maybe that'll be a good chance for us to research the series, and on the weekend off we can research those series and see. We can talk about the local Florida series.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think it'd be kind of cool. That's something that just interests me as the sport kind of continues to morph in Florida and grow. And there's also there used to be the Florida Georgia Series, and there's a lot happening. I mean, this weekend when we were driving back from Tallahassee, I saw people hauling their dirt bikes, and
there's dirt bikes going everywhere.
There were race cars heading home from Sebring. I think they were racing Sebring this weekend, and there was guys leaving Gatorback, and I'm like, oh, man, and you just see it. We see him as we're driving, but I've been doing this for so many years. It's like, oh, there's a motorcycle, oh, there's a race car, and you can just tell by the hauler which is what. And so, Derek, I don't really have anything else. You got anything else?
No, it was fun. Hopefully we're gonna reach out to a few people this week and see what we can make happen and get some more guests on here. There's a lot in the works. So.
I still have to start the Beyond the Curve, either business, Beyond the Curve. We have the Beyond the Curve MX podcast. I got to start the Beyond the Curve business or the Beyond the Curve personal podcast. I can't really figure which way I'm going to go on that, but I've already got 2 guests lined up. They're both, one's a business owner and one is a director of a not-for-profit in Lake Wales. So they're very interesting ladies. Really, really cool. I can't wait to sit down and talk to them. It's a matter of just me getting off my butt and timing and everything else. But other than that, if you don't have anything else, that is Derek Schaefer with DBS, and I am Trey Trey Heath with Michelle and Trey Real Estate. We are the Beyond the Curve MX podcast. This was episode 13, and both of us are dry because he was in the mud and I was working in the rain. But
just tired. We're just tired.
But everybody have a great week. I think this weekend for me, I might go to check the RV show in Tampa at the fairgrounds. You guys have the weekend off.
Yep, we're gonna can some spaghetti sauce and do homemaker things. So.
By the way, they are amazing chefesses. I don't know how you say women chefs.
I don't know.
They're both, Derek and Brianna are really, really good cooks, and they homemade everything. Everything's homemade.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited. Brianna told me they were going to be canning this weekend. I'm like, yes. So they're going to be canning. I'm going to be looking at RVs, and I don't have to mow any grass this weekend, so I'm really happy. So everybody, have a great week. And this weekend, Colorado, weekend off for Dade City, and we'll see you next Monday. Bye-bye.
See ya.